All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. As it is stretch run time in the NBA's regular season, we're getting an idea as to who the championship contenders are, as well as identifying the individual players that have stood out the most. And with that said, right now, who should be the MVP of the NBA for this season? Now, you look at some of the key players to keep an eye on. Denver Nuggets center Nikola Jokic is the NBA's reigning two-time MVP. And even though that Jokic's points per game are slightly down in comparison to last season, he is currently averaging a triple double. You're talking about Jokic averaging nearly 25 points per game, more than 11 and a half rebounds, and more than 10 assists per contest. Unlike last year, the Nuggets are healthy this season as the return of Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr as well as Jokic, has helped to propel Denver to the best record in the Western Conference. Now, if Jokic were to win the award, he would become the first NBA player since Larry Bird to be named as the league's MVP in 3 consecutive years, while also joining Russell Westbrook and Oscar Robertson, as the only players to average a triple double for an entire NBA season. Now, also aside from Jokic, will this be the year for Philadelphia 76ers center Joel Embiid to take home the award? Now, there were some people who felt that Embiid should have won the award last year. He didn't. It went to Jokic. And we saw Embiid last year lead the NBA in scoring. This time around, he's not leading the NBA in scoring currently, but the big man is still dropping 33 points a game to go along with more than 10 rebounds per contest, as the Sixers are currently third in the Eastern Conference. Will that be enough? We got to wait and see. Will Giannis Antetokounmpo be able to make it three NBA MVP awards in the last 5 years? Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks are currently battling with the Boston Celtics for the best record in the NBA. And in the process, Giannis is averaging close to 32 points and more than 12 boards per contest. Now, we've seen a lingering wrist injury come up, in recent games for Giannis. And then of course now he's day to day after hurting his knee last night against the Miami Heat. So you have to wonder if Giannis is going to scale it back a little bit coming down the stretch in order to be healthy for the postseason. And I mean, for what it's worth, Giannis is already a two-time NBA MVP. He's also a one-time NBA champion, and you could see that hunger for him, not for the individual awards, but more for the team accolades and winning the championship. So it'd be interesting to see if he takes a step back and really doesn't worry about the MVP as far as just simply getting ready for the postseason. Tyler Spencer, how are you doing today? Even though I don't know if it should go to the same player 3 times in a row, it's hard to deny Jokic averaging a triple dub on what feels like good efficiency, and undeniably playing winning basketball. Listen, I see what you're saying right there, and I'm going to raise you one because there were some doubters that question why Jokic got the award last year. And I mean, the Nuggets finished sixth in the Western Conference, but you also had to factor in where would that team have been without him? Because again, no Jamal Murray, no Michael Porter, basically for the entire season last year. And it was a scenario where he needed to be that guy on a night in and night out basis. Obviously, the Nuggets did not get the results that they wanted in the playoffs last year because in the first round, the Golden State Warriors were basically able to key on Jokic. And since Denver did not have the depth last year like they do this year, he had to work for every single point in that contest, and nobody else on that roster was able to step up. Now we see what Jokic can do when he has more talent around him. And granted, Like I said before, his points per game are slightly down, but you cannot overlook his ability as a passer and a facilitator, as well as his ability to rebound. And he just impacts the game in so many different facets. There have been games where Jokic might only score like 15 or 16 points, but he'll still give you 15 rebounds and eight, maybe nine or 10 assists. And then you have a scenario where the Nuggets are winning. And at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to. So at the end of the day, Tyler, I definitely agree with you on that aspect. One other player to keep an eye on is going to be Boston Celtics forward Jason Tatum. And after helping the Celtics reach the NBA Finals last year, Tatum has taken his game to another level this season. He's averaging a career best 30.6 points per game to go along with 8.7 boards. He is extremely versatile on the offensive end of the floor. And he's a big reason why the Celtics went into the break with the best record in the NBA. And you think about it from this standpoint, just like I talked about it with Giannis. Jason Tatum took the challenge and he came back hungry. And I say that from the Giannis aspect. When the Bucks won that championship 2 years ago, Giannis came back hungry last year. Obviously, things didn't work out for Milwaukee. And I've said it before, and I will continue to say it. That Chris Middleton injury really impacted things for the Bucks as far as their chances to repeat. Now, with that said, Tatum knows that his Celtics team was very close last year, and he is built off of that, looking to get this team back. And he's really answered the bell and taken the challenge. So it's going to be interesting to see how a player like Tatum would factor into this. And one final player that I don't think is going to get the award, but he's definitely honorable mention, and that's Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks. Now, Luka is currently leading the NBA in scoring, but with the Mavericks currently sitting in sixth place in the Western Conference, how much of a look is he really going to get? For me, just like it was last year, I think this is a two-man race. I think it came down to Embiid and Jokic last year. I would not have been surprised if it were a co-MVP last year between Jokic and Embiid. I know Embiid was not thrilled that he didn't take home the hardware last year, but it's very hard to argue with the season that Jokic had last year. And honestly, if you're talking about being fair, you could make a legitimate argument that Jokic is having a more efficient season this year than he was last season. And again, Russell Westbrook did it twice. Oscar Robertson did it once. He came close to doing it several times, though, in regards to averaging a triple double for an entire season. That was from the guard positions. This is from the forward slash center position. And I know some people want to refer to it as a big man, but I still view Jokic as a center, but nonetheless, it's a scenario where we've never seen it at the NBA level to this point with what we're seeing with Jokic. It's going to be very hard to deny him that. And then if that was the case, obviously he would be a three-time MVP. Now, I know that there were some people that questioned Jokic getting the award 2 years ago, and there were some people who questioned it with him getting it last year. And I said this last year when Jokic got the award, that at that point you could already go ahead and pencil him in as a Hall of Famer. And I say that because if you look at it, with everybody that is eligible for the Hall of Fame at this point, every person in NBA history that has taken home the MVP award at least two times made the Hall of Fame. Of course, you know, Steph Curry is still out there, he's active. LeBron James is still playing. Um, Obviously, Giannis is still playing, and obviously, Jokic is still playing. But you look at all four of those players, obviously, all of them, when it's all said and done, are going to be Hall of Famers. So, nonetheless, if Jokic were to win this award for a third consecutive year, you know, he would be in that rare air as far as players who have won that award three times or more. You think about some of the greats, Larry Bird, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, and there's only several others. This is just right off the top of my head right here. So if I'm omitting anybody, it's not, you know, on purpose. But nonetheless, it would take him to another level as far as where he would be as far as legendary NBA players. Some people might not fully respect his game currently. Some people do. I think in regards to Jokic, he's a guy that his career probably what he's doing on an individual level probably won't get appreciated until his career is over. And with that said, it's not a guarantee that he's going to win the award. I'm just saying, you know what? If he does average a triple double for the season, it's going to be very hard to deny him. And that's not taking anything away from Joel Embiid because I think Joel Embiid is a force. And maybe from the Sixers standpoint, if Embiid were to miss out on the award again, maybe, that would motivate him even more than he already is to try to propel the Sixers to a championship come playoff time. We got to wait and see. Nonetheless, just like it was last year, I do believe that this is once again going to be a two-man race between Jokic and Embiid. Who wins it? We got to wait and see. But again, and I'm not trying to sound like a broken record, if you have a player that averages a triple double for an entire year, especially from a position where it's never been done before, it's going to be very hard to deny that person the hardware. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There is also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. Tyler Spencer, as always, definitely appreciate you chiming in and commenting and viewing the podcast. And I, can't wait to see you back on here real soon when I'm doing some more stuff. I'm going to try to do some more stuff, if not later today, definitely tomorrow. So if you got the time, I definitely appreciate it. And as always, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off, saying thanks again and take care. And thanks for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.